Mr. Lim Biow Chuan.
Sir, I was taken aback when I saw the motion by the Honourable NCMP Ms. Hazel Puan and Mr. Leong Man Wai. In the motion, they asked that this House suspends Mr. S. Iswaran from the service of Parliament for the remainder of the current session of the 14th Parliament. In Ms. Hazel Puan's Facebook page, she said that she had filed the motion so that Mr. S. Iswaran no longer receives his MP allowance, while he has been requested by the PM to not perform any official duties during his investigation by CPIB. So it is a fundamental principle of law that any person who is accused of an offence is deemed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The burden of proof is placed on the prosecution, and the accused is assumed to be innocent until the prosecution can prove beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the crime that he has been charged with. The accused does not even need to prove his innocence. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. This principle is also enshrined in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. At Article 11, it says, everyone charged with a penal offence has the right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty according to law in a public trial at which he has had all the guarantees necessary for his defence. No one shall be held guilty of any penal offence on account of any act or omission which did not constitute a penal offence under national or international law at the time when it was committed, nor shall a heavier penalty be imposed than the one that was applicable at the time that the penal offence was committed. So, to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Iswaran is currently under investigation by CPIB. He has not been charged for an offence, and neither has he been convicted in a court of law of any offence. In a statement made by Prime Minister on 2nd of August 2023, PM Lee said that while investigating a separate matter, CPIB came across some information concerning Minister Iswaran that merited investigation, and CPIB would need to interview Minister Iswaran to take the investigation further, and he sought my concurrence to open a formal investigation. So Minister Iswaran was brought in by CPIB and subsequently released on bail. PM instructed him to take leave of absence until the investigations are completed. So to this date, I'm not aware of any other facts that have come out, and PM has said CPIB investigations are still ongoing. He said details cannot be provided so as not to prejudice the investigations. Thus, if Ms. Hazel Puan or PSP is asking that Parliament suspends Mr. S. Iswaran simply because they feel that he does not warrant the MP's allowance, then does this mean that they have already judged that Mr. Iswaran had committed a wrongdoing even before the details of the investigations are out? Let me repeat that. They are judging whether Mr. Iswaran had committed a wrongdoing even before the details of the investigation are out. Surely, Mr. Iswaran should be given due process and every opportunity to present his case before the court of law if ever CPIB decides to charge him. And this is the basic principle behind the rule of law. So with the greatest respect, if PSP is advocating this principle, then it's a very dangerous principle. It means that if any member of the public lodges a police report against Mr. Leong or Ms. Puan, or for that matter, any other MP, and the police decides to commence investigations against them, this House would similarly have to suspend them from the service of Parliament. Now, if Ms. Puan or Mr. Leong feels that an MP ought to be suspended from service merely because he is under investigation, then I seek advice, and I think the Leader of the House has said already that this principle would then have to be applicable to all MPs in this House. In the 2nd of August sitting, I asked Mr. Leong whether it is his position that the Leader of Opposition, Mr. Pritam, cannot receive his salary or cannot carry out his duties in Parliament merely because he has been referred to the police for investigation. Mr. Leong then replied that it only pertains to investigation by CPIB. But why only cases involving CPIB? As Leader of the House said, why not for other offences, other serious offences, molest, rape, murder? Or is it purely an arbitrary decision made by PSP? So allow me to ask Mr. Leong again, if an MP is investigated for perjury, for lying under oath. Is that not a serious offence too? It involves an allegation of dishonest conduct, an allegation of lying under oath, which means that we cannot trust that person who may lie at any opportunity. Is Ms. Phua or Mr. Leong saying that these offences are not serious? So allow me to clarify that I hold the Leader of Opposition with great respect. While I may not agree with Mr. Pritam on some political matters, I will stand to defend his right to sit in Parliament unless he is convicted of an offence. And even then, the punishment levied must be such that it will disqualify him from serving as an MP under the Constitution, because not every punishment will result in disqualification as an MP under the Constitution. So the fundamental question which I have for the two NCMPs is what is their basis for asking for Mr. Iswaran to be suspended from service when we don't even know what is the case against him? He has been placed on leave of absence and hence is not able to attend Parliament. So I don't understand why this rush to suspend him. Why not allow the CPIB time to do its work? Does the PSB say that every single government officer who is under investigation for any offence also be suspended and the salary docked? Why would PSB want Parliament to amend an Act of Parliament just simply to push for the suspension of salary of one particular MP? Is it their position that you punish first, suspend, cut his salary, and then reimburse him later if he's found guilty? This goes against the rule of law. So for that reason, I cannot support this motion by Ms. Phua, Mr. Leong. I firmly believe that once the case against Mr. Iswaran is concluded, the government will do whatever is right to ensure that all parties are treated fairly. Hence, I support the motion by the Leader of the House that we wait for the outcome of the investigations before considering any other action.
I think Mr. Lim you actually used the wrong word. The reimbursement should be if the member is found innocent. But it's
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.